Is that in SSIS, how to dynamically change the connection. Okay, even so when you open the packages, like you can see the last time packages, you can see many connection managers, right? You can change. See, when I click the connection manager, okay, you got the connection properties. This is the one way to see. Other way you can do is that right click on this, click on the properties, automatically you'll get window, okay, properties window. In the properties window you can see there is a called connection string that will have the connection properties. See, okay, that will have the connection properties. And doing the control C, I can paste the connection properties somewhere. Okay, it's a standard every connection string. When you right click and when you see the properties, in the properties there will be a name called connection string that will automatically have a connection configuration for each and everything. We can see with the files also. I'll show you. Okay, see, data source means server name. Data source means the server name. Remember, data source means the server name. Next you will have the separated by hyphen colon, sorry. Next, initial catalog. Initial catalog means the database name. Okay, provider is the, since it is a 2012 SQL Server, you will have SQL Server client number, client version. Next, integrated security. These all are things by default you will have them. If you want the password, you will have the password also. Okay, but the main thing you need to remember is that what is the data source, what is a catalog in the database level. Okay, this is a data source, means it is a server name. Data source means always a server name. Initial catalog means the database name. Okay, same way if you see for files, you may see some text files here. I'm not sure. Yeah, you are seeing some text files, right? I'm clicking a text file. Now see, you can see the text file properties here. Oh, yeah, so it will have the connection path pointing to the text file. That is a connection string for the text file. Okay, so now what we are going to see manually, I'll create one package, call this is a package. So what I'll do, just for a time, I'll take one data flow task. Yeah, I'm recording. Yeah, I started recording that. Yeah, so I've started the data flow task. I opened the data, I dragged and dropped data flow task. I clicked on the data flow task. Now what I'll be doing, see, there are multiple databases. So let's say I'll have one more database called, this is a dot, this is my other database. Okay, this is my other database. Okay, so what I need, I'll create one table. So here you might be seeing some table. We'll go with one table. Okay, so in this database there is a database called anything. There is a database called class. When I click the tables, you can see one table called something EMP. I right click on the EMP, select top 1000 rows. Okay, I got some record. This structure is EMP ID and EMP name. What I'll do, I'll copy the structure. Okay, the same structure. Now I want to run this structure in this database on different server. Okay, on I want to run this on the temp database. So what I'll do, in order to move to that server, I can do it in two ways. Just right click on this server, select a new query, or click on the temp database and select new query. Automatically server connection, you see, you can at the bottom you can see the connection properties, database name and the server name. That is the one way I can do. Other thing I can do is that right click on this. Here I can do the change property. See, by default here it is connected to a different server. When I right click on this, click on the connection, change connection, then automatically you can change the connection. See, now it got changed to the server. Now here I'll write the server name. Since I want to connect, I'll write to connect it as tempdb. Use temp. That's it. Automatically this table will be created on the temporary database. Okay, done. Oh, there is already called EMP. So what I'll do, I'll drop the table and do the EMP. Done. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to close all the stuff. Now I'll refresh the temp. Click on this. So there is a there is a table called EMP. I'll right click on the EMP table, edit 200 rows, and I'll insert 200 rows. Okay, I'll give 111 as name A, 2222. I'll give name BBBB, 333. Next I'll give CCCC. Okay, now see how I am going to do. I'll just close this. Done. Now what I want, control flow. I'll click on the data flow task. I'll take the OLEDB source. So because the real scenario I am going now, once I create this package, then I'll explain what I'll be doing. Okay, I don't want to confuse you now. So I'll take the OLEDB source, I'll take the OLEDB destination, or I'll take any other thing. Okay, I'll take the flat file destination. So in the OLEDB destination, for time being, what I'll be doing, I'll connect to this database, Adventure Badam's tests class. Do you have, yeah, this is the database which I'll be taking. Okay, done. I got the database. In this, you'll have the table called EMP. I have selected. I can preview. So EMP ID, EMP name, done. I got it. Go to the columns. Okay. Now what I'll do, I'll just drag and connect. I'll load it into a flat file. EMP, browse, EMP test or something, done. Open. I'm going to do the columns and advanced, done. Okay, I did that. If I go to the mapping, so done, everything is done. Okay, now if I load this, what it is going to happen now? It's going, whatever the data I got in this server, in the class database, in the EMP table, whatever the data I got, that will be stored in the flat file. Okay, so actually I got two records in the class. So now what I'll be doing, I'll be opening two databases. On this one, I'll go to the class, create a new query. I'll go to this, go to the temp, create a new query. I'll create both the queries side by side. Now you can see the connection for this is this server name, this database name, and connection for this is this server name, this server name and this database name. Okay, so this is a server name and this is a database. This is a server name and this is a database. So I'll do select star from EMP. Okay, so both tables I have. When I run this, I'll get the data. When I run this, I'll get the data. Now since I connected to this server, so when I run, I'll get these records in the flat file. Alright, so I run, there are two records. Now if I go and see in the flat file, I'll be having the two records that are there in the first server or anything. So when I see, I can see the two records, done. Now what is my scenario is that, so I want to change the connection now, even though it is the connection is this one, right? When I right click on the properties, okay, now when I click on the connections, you got the connection string. Okay, you got the connection string, right? So now I'll create I'll create two connections here. So this is a connection string, right? So I'll just copy the connection string. Now what my purpose is that I want to change the connection of this database. So previously the database, that connection is pointing to this one, right? Now I want to change the connection to this one. So how I'm going to change it? Okay, so what I'll do, I'll select all the connection properties, paste it here, or I'll take new query, paste the connection properties here. Okay, so now what I want, I can go step by step. Actually this is a server, right? I'll just give the buttons because it is local. So I'll give the server name. Initial catalog, what I'll give, initial catalog is temp, database name. I'll change the connection properties now, Control C. So before placing that, let me see, when I open this, it is connecting to class database and server is this one, cancel. Now I'll select the connection properties, Control A, delete them and Control V. Okay, I change the connection properties. Now when I click this, see, it changed it to Badams. Are you able to get my point? Hello? So it is automatically changed. So when you change the connection properties, that one will be changed. That is the one way to do, but no one will do this way. No one will never do this way. Okay, this is the hard coded one. It's not a practicable one. So what I'll do, I'll create a variable. So in the package, if you want to store any value temporarily, so in our T-SQL, we'll be storing the values in the variables, right? Same way in the package, if you want to store any value, go to the click on the variables, then you'll get a window called variables. Okay, you'll get a variables window. Now what I'll be doing, so one more thing you need to remember in all the windows, when I click this, it will be hidden. Okay, when I click this, it will again fix. That's the thing. Okay, you can see one mark here. It will fix. It will go, or when I again select it here, it will be fixed. So this is like auto hide. This is like it will be fixed here. Now I'm expanding the variable window. You'll have the variable name. So just I'll give the EMP table, EMP connection. EMP connection. So I'll give the data type as string. Done. So about the expression, I'm going to explain later on. Just give the value. I'll give some value here. Whatever the connection properties I'm adding, right? Data source, server name, and the database name. That all things. You can see the string here. Whatever the value I am having here, I'm just copying and pasting there. Done. Okay. Only worry about the value. Expression I am going to explain later on. It's a dynamic one. So we are going to see later on. Just only. So this is the name. This is the scope. This is the data type. I want to show some string, right? So where character. So I'll just use a data type called string. If you want to store something integer, you can give the data type called integer. Same way we declare our variables, right? The same way here also. But one more thing is that what is the scope of the package? I'll explain when we go to the variables. Don't worry. For the first, now you only worry is that name. You'll give your name, data type, and the value which you want to store in that variable. So I have given the value as the connection string. Okay. Now what I'll be doing, I'll just click on this one. If you don't have the properties box, let's say I don't have any properties box. I don't have anything. I don't have any properties box. So right click and click on the properties. You'll get automatically. Okay. In case if you don't get, just click on the view. Somewhere you'll have the properties window. Yeah, properties window. When you click, then automatically you'll be getting. That is the other way to get. Okay. So now what I'll do in the connection in the properties window, there is a thing called expressions. Click on the expressions. Expand this one. When you expand this, okay, then you will get the property and expression. So you can see one thing called connection string here, right? So we need to change the value of the connection string. So in the properties, you will have the connection string here. Somewhere, yeah, connection string. Okay, I'll just give the connection string. And after that, in the expression, what I'll do, I'll click on this. Where did I store that connection value? I stored the connection value in the variable, right? So what is the variable name? EMP connection. So automatically when I open, I can see the variables and parameters here. The same, see one more thing, I'm not doing anything, okay? The same thing when you worked in the SSIS, right? Like in the transformations, when you open, not only variables, you got other called columns. I'm clicking OK, I'm not doing anything. I'm clicking cancel because I want to explain the in-depth. Cancel. Now go to the solution. Because we created some packages, right? Or we created some packages, right? When I click on any of the package, see when I click on this, oh, sorry, not on this. I'll go to the deleted column, I think. Somewhere we'll be having the deleted column. Yeah. When I click on this, see, you also got the columns because there is an input columns for this, right? So that's the reason you got the columns. Okay. The same window you will be getting when you go to that. So I am closing this one. Okay. I am closing this one. I am going back to here. So when I click on this, go to the properties. Now, sorry, click on this properties, go to the expressions. Now open. Now open. So since you want the connection string, select the connection string. Click on this. Done. The same window you will be getting, but instead of the columns, you will get the variables and parameters. Now I'll take whichever the variables I want. See that variable, wherever you see user, that variables are created by the user. When I click, all the system variables are having the prefix as system. Okay. Now I'll just drag and drop it here. If I want to see the value which is there in that, I'll just click the evaluate. Okay, see whatever the value I have in that parameter, I can see at the bottom. Like output of this variable, I can see at the bottom. Okay, so I am done. I have created now, so I am good. I'll just click OK. So now I created the connection and OK. So now what happens when executing? If I change the value in this variable, automatically it will be reflected in this connection, because that one you are taking dynamically. This method you will be calling it as a dynamical implementation. So now you see it is connected to Badam server and temp database, right? Okay, I'll run this. Okay, I'll run this. So now everything will be okay. Badam server temp database. Now when I go and open this, I'll get 111 because this data is there in the temp database. Okay, you can see it here. See, 111 is there in the temp database. ABC, this 101, 102 is there in the other database, class database. Okay, see, this is there in the temp database. See, when I click this, it is changing the class database. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, instead of changing the connection string here, I'll just change in the variable. See, go to the click on the variable source. What is the source? Badam's, I just want to see the server name because I'm a little bit confused. MS SQL Server 2012. Okay, or else I can change it here only, right? So why to worry? I'll change it here and I'll copy and paste it there. Sometimes your windows may be hidden, so you can select it here and you can select this way. So Badam's MS SQL Server 2012, and the initial catalog is, it is a database, right? So I can give the class. Okay, I'll just copy this and paste it here, done. In the variable, control A, delete, I'll paste it here, done. So when I do this, see, I did the variable, right? Done. Now when I click the connection manager, okay, it still didn't get refreshed. Okay, it didn't get refreshed anything. See, still you can see the temp only, but nothing has been affected, right? But that will affect during the runtime. When I execute this, automatically the connection manager properties will be changed to the, see, when I click this, now see, it got changed to the class automatically. Okay, don't worry, but during the runtime it will automatically reflect the value, whatever the value you have in this variable, that will be updated in this during the runtime. See, now when I click, see, now it is connecting to the other server. Are you able to get my point? అర్థమైందా అందరికీ? మానస్, మీ అందరికీ? సో బేసికల్ ఏంటి అంటే, ప్రతి ఒక్క దానికి కనెక్షన్ మేనేజర్లో ఎవ్రీథింగ్ యూ క్లిక్, there will be expression. When you click the expression, you will have the connection property. In the properties, see, don't worry about the other things, they show only the connection string. 99% you will be using only this one only. Okay, I don't want to, like, I never use them. If you want to give the file name also, you can dynamically pass them. Okay, if you want to do the text qualifier, if you want to do the role delimiter, like how the row is separated from each record, that all things you can pass, but mostly we'll be passing only the connection manager. Okay, that's the same way for each and everything you will be doing. So whenever you want to do any connection manager dynamically, okay, so this is a scenario how it works. Now you will be understanding it clearly. Now you will be get clear. Okay, so I'll be adding the database, or I'll be adding the file in folder 1. Okay, this is the folder 1. Okay, I am adding a file 1. Next I am adding a folder 2. This is adding a file 2. Okay, so today what happens, let's say this is, okay, let's say there is only folder 1 and file 1. What I want, whatever the file, there will be couple of files, there will be some hundreds of files which I need to load. Okay, so what happens, I'll be having all the files in the folder 1. So I'll create 100 packages. I'll create package 1, I'll create package 2. Okay, same way you will create up to 100 packages which is pointing to the same folder. Manually you will be doing, right? Manually you will be pointing all the files to this folder. You will be loading, like this file, this one has 100 files. So let's say that you created one package for each, loading each file. So you are good. After 1 month, they instead of what are the file you will be having the files in this folder one, right? So they had some issues and they want to, they'll be loading all the files into some different folder too. Okay, whatever the files you got here, that all files they'll be moving into the folder too. So what you will be doing now, you need to go to you need to go to each and every package, and manually you need to change the properties. Manually you need to change all the files pointing to this folder. That's the one thing you need to do manually. For each and everything you need to do. For 100 packages you need to do manually. And it's a burden. Okay. And it takes more time, and even sometimes you may miss, because doing 100 packages is like confusing thing, right? So it's a, you can do it, but it's not in a like single minute process. You need to first because you will be creating a package some month 2 months ago, right? So you don't know where they are located, and you will go and each and every package you need to understand how the process is. Then you will be selecting that. It's take more time. So normally what they do basically, whatever the folder path is there, they will store that folder path in a variable. Okay, they will store that folder path in a variable in the package, and that variable they will be pointing to all the packages. Okay, the same variable will be there in the all the packages. The same variable will be there in the all the packages. So this variable will have the folder path. Okay, this variable will have the folder path. So all the packages will use this folder path. Done. After that, one more thing what is there is that whatever the path you have, that path you will be storing in a table. Okay, that path you will be storing in a table. Whatever the path you have, you will be storing that path in a table. So what you will be doing, whenever this all the 100 packages starts, the first thing it will be doing is that it will take whatever the path you have in the table, that path will be taken and it will be updated in the variable. In all the 100 packages variable, it will be updated dynamically, so that next time if you want to change any path to the different folder, you will not change in all the packages, you will just change only in a table. Are you able to get my point? అర్థమైందా మీకు? హలో, ఓకే. సో okay, so what things we'll be doing is that now we'll be creating the same connections in a table for our purpose. Okay, now you are going to see a couple of things how to, so what you have seen now, the different things you have seen, only one thing, like take a data from the source and load into a destination, and if you want to do any transformations you are did, right? That all things you are done in the data flow. In the data flow you did, but now whatever you will do, you will do in the control flow. So what we want, take the value from the table and load it into that variable. Whenever the package starts, take the value from the table and load it into that variable. How you are going to load it? So for that there is some separate task. So these all are miscellaneous. These all are not related to the data. Okay, whatever the things are related to data, you will be doing in the data flow task. So in the data flow, but which are not related to the data flow, like miscellaneous, like getting the value from the table and updating the variable, that all things you will be doing by using the there are a couple of execute SQL tasks, that all things you will be doing by that. Okay, so now what we are going to do, the same scenario, whatever the thing I am having, right, the same thing I will be doing the other way. Okay, this is updated. So whenever if I want to change the connection, right, if I need to manually come to the package, I need to change. Let's say I need the same connection is used by 100 packages. If I want to change in 100 packages, then what I will be doing? If I want to change them in 100 packages, then manually I need to go and change in 100 packages. Let's say the same connection is being used in 100 packages, let's say. Then I need to manually go and change this variable in 100 packages, right? I will not do that. So what I will do, just a simple way, there are many other ways also, but I just want to do it in a simple way. Okay, let's say I'll create one more table, create table, I'll name the table as connection, I'll name the table name as connection, I'll give name, okay, as varchar 100. Next I'll give the something called value as varchar some 200 or 500, whatever mark. Mostly you'll be having like 100 to 150, so let's take 500. It's not a matter, right? So I'll create it. Then what I'll do now, I'll insert the values into the table. Insert into, oh, basically I'll be storing these values in separate table, okay, test database. I'll be storing these values in a test database. So now I'll insert into connection, values. Now I will have a name. So what name? It is connected to the EMP table, right? So I'll give the EMP as a connection. Next I'll give the values. What are the values? What are the connection string I got here, right? I copied and pasted here. That's it. Okay. So there is no need of this. I'll just close this. Done. There is no need of this one also. I'll close this and done. Okay. So now I'm inserting the two values into the table. So basically the tables are located in a temp database. Okay. So test database. Execute. Now automatically a table is created and one value is affected. Done. So now if I want to get the connection for the EMP, so I need to write a script. Select value from connection where name equal to EMP. Yeah, case is not a case sensitive, so you can do anything. See, I got the connection. Okay. Now what I need to do is that I'll click on this. So whenever you want to load a data from a table into the package, into the variables, update the variables in a package, right? So you can do by using a execute SQL task transformation. So I'll go to the SSIS toolbox, just drag and drop the execute SQL task. Done. Execute SQL task. Now what I'll do, when I click the execute SQL task, the first thing I'll be getting is that from whatever the query you will be running. So this query you need to run on the database, right? So which database I will be running? I will be running on this Badam server and the database as test. So I need to create I need to give the connection here, that one. Click on this. Because I don't have any connection, I manually I need to go. Yeah, Badam's test. This is the connection I have. Click OK. Done. It will be done. And which SQL statement I want to do it? What are the SQL statement you want to? You need to paste it here. So how to paste? When you click on this, you will get one button. Click on this, you will get a window. There you need to place the query. So I'll copy this query. See, one more thing. This query is returning a column value, and that is returning only one value, right? Column name is value. That value is having the connection to the database. Okay. So now I'll copy that query and paste it here. Done. Okay. So now what happens? This query, so execute, why you use the execute SQL task is that whenever you want to run certain queries on certain database, then you will use the execute SQL task. So you said same thing. Instead of running my query in the management studio, I'll just connect to the execute SQL task here, and I'll paste my query, and when I execute, that query will execute. Done. But what is my scenario? I want to take this value. What are the thing I'll be getting in this value? I need to take them and I need to capture them in the variable, right? I need to load that into the variable. Okay. So how to do is that this is in the general. You will have all this in the general. So for doing that, since this query returns a value, so in order to store that, in order to store the output from this query into a variable, you need to do in the result set. So there are two types here. In the general, parameter mapping, result set and expressions. So general means you will be giving the database name and you will be giving the connection properties, like which query you want to execute. Then in the parameters mapping, whenever you want to pass parameters from the package to that query, from the package to the query, then you will be mapping in the parameter mapping. If you want to take the output from the query and load it to the package, then you will be doing in the result set. Okay. So now I want to load this output into the variable in the package. So I can do it in the result set. When I click, see, there is nothing for me to add it here. It is not allowing me to add. Why means, So I go to back to the general. The system knows, okay, you are executing queries, but you need to manually ask the system to capture that output. So for that purpose, you need to make the result set. Click on the result set. How many records you are giving? It is showing only one record, right? Okay, only one output and one record. So I'll take the single row. Done. When I select this, now I'll go to result set. Now I can see the add button here. I'll click the add button. That's it. Now, in the result set, what is the column I am returning? It is a value. See, when I execute this, I am getting a column called value, right? So I'll be writing the column name. Next, to where I need to store that value, because there is only one system variable, one user variable, so it is showing that variable, right? I need to, everything got cancelled, sorry. So I need to go with this, click on the test. I'll click on this one, paste it, Control V, done. I need to give one record, result set as one, single row, done. Go to result set, here I will be adding. Okay, so here I will give the column as value. Okay, we are back up to here, we are good, right? Value. So since I got only one variable, so it is showing one variable. If I have a couple of variables in the package, then it will show all the variables. I need to select the related one. So I got it here, done. I'll select. Now I'll click OK. I'll click OK, done. Now what I'll do, I'll connect this execute SQL task to the data flow task. Okay, I'll connect this execute SQL task to the data flow task. So now you can see whatever the connection I got in the table. Don't worry, see, that variable will have some values. When I click this, that variable will have some values here. The variable will have some value, right? But this value will be overwritten when you run this one dynamically. What system is going to do? First, this see, this is the connection. So I didn't say anything about, right? I had two tasks in my thing. What I want, first I want to execute this, get the connection and load it into update the variable. After that I want to execute this, right? If I run this, what happens? Both will execute at the same time. But my scenario is that I want to execute this first, I want to execute this second. So for that purpose, you can join by using this line. So what this line says, first this one will execute, second this one will execute. That's the scenario, okay? So now, what do I have the connection properties here? It is having Badam's MS SQL Server 2012 and it is having the, this is the database, initial catalog class. So when I run this, automatically, so even though, see here, I am clicking this, I am changing the database server name. See here, remember, I am changing the server properties here. I am changing it to test. Okay, I am changing that one to test. I am changing that one to test. Okay, okay. So now, when I click this, yeah, because it is again, it is not changing because of the variable. So I'll go to the variable. In the variable, I'll change the connection properties here. I'll change it to the test. Okay, in order to show you. So I'll change it to the temp. So temp means delete. So initial catalog is temp. Done. Okay, okay. So I'll click on this, cancel. So I can do it in two ways. In order to update it for time being, I'll click here, click on this, evaluate expression, Badam's temp. Okay, okay. Yeah, it automatically reflected the Badam's. Okay. Now it is changed to the Badam server. So when I click on this, see, this is connected at the back end, even though it is showing the database name, but it is connected to the Badam server, right? The EMP database. So I got this like temp database. So I got these 3 records, right? But now what is there in my connections here? It is connected to this server, the above server, right? In this table, it is connected to the class database and EMP table. So that will have the different records. That will have the different 2 records. See, okay. So now when I run the package, what it does, first this execute SQL task will execute. So whatever the connection I have in the execute SQL task, it is connected to this server, right? So then I should get the 123 number. Now 123, instead of getting 111 employee, I should get the employee number of this. Okay. Then it will take that value and it will update this variable And when it comes to a data flow task, this data flow task is using this connection manager, right? So automatically this connection manager, whatever the value you got in this variable, that value will be updated in the connection manager dynamically. Okay. So now when I run this, now you can see. If I go and open the file, now you can see it will get C. It is showing 101 Raju, 102 Kumar. Even though, see, now I stop the package. Again, if I see the connection, it is pointing to the, see, still it is pointing to the temp only. But during the runtime, dynamically that connection string will be updated and this will be updated. You can't see them. Are you able to get my point? Hello? But I want to see the value, which value it's showing, because it is happening at the blink of your eye. So you can't see anything what is happening during the runtime. Okay, so if I want to see anything that is happening during the runtime, so what I can do is that normally I want to check what value is there in the variable after the execution of this execute SQL task. Okay, after execution of this execute SQL task, I want to see what value we have in this variable. Because this variable, whatever the value we have in the variable, that is overwritten, right, during the runtime only. That value you can't see. By default, when I given some value, right, only that value only you can see. But during the runtime, that value is being overwritten. But I don't know which value is or which value I am getting in that. So if I want to see anything like that, I can stop the package during the runtime only. So how to stop the package is that right click on this execute SQL task. There is a concept called edit breakpoints. When I click on this, when do I want to see that variable? That variable will be overwritten after execution of this execute SQL task, right? So I can stop that. Like, see, on execute event, on post execute. That's it. Break when the container receives the on post execute event. Means after completion of that, I am going to stop the package there itself. Okay, I am going to stop the package there itself. Now see, when I run, my package will stop there. It will not go to the next step. See, it is still in the waiting process. Now, see, I can't see any variable. Is there anything like variable I can click here? See, but it is not showing the real value. See, it is not showing the real value that I am getting from there, right? So in order to see the real value, click on the debug. There will be a Windows. Click there, you can see the locals. When I click, I am closing these variables. When I click locals, I will be here. So expand this variable. Now you can see that whatever the value dynamically you are having, you can see here. See, EMP connection, it is having Baddams, MS SQL, because during the runtime it will not recognize a one symbol, one slash, so it automatically will update to double slash. Okay, see, MS SQL 2012 initial catalog as class. Can you see this point? Okay, this is only for testing. If you want to see the values in the variable, you can do that way. So now again, if I want to do it, I can click on this. Okay, sorry, I can click on this start button, continue. Automatically it will be executed. So like you can see the value. See, now when I again go back to the variables, I can't see the new one. See, I can see the database connecting to the temp only. See, I can see a database connecting to the temp only. But during the runtime, it is updated to class database and it is getting the data from there. So once the package is done, it will just have the old value only. It will not be replaced with a new value. Okay? అర్థమైందా మీ అందరికీ? ఇది కొద్దిగా కన్ఫ్యూజింగ్ ఉంటుంది. అంటే బేసిక్గా ఈ కాన్సెప్ట్ ఏంటిదంటే, మీరు ఫస్ట్ చెప్పాను కదా, వాటిని అర్థం చేసుకోకుండా బేసిక్ ఏంటిదంటే, మీరు ఎప్పుడన్నా ఒక ప్యాకేజ్లో ఉన్న వాల్యూస్ డైనమిక్గా లోడ్ చేయాలనుకోండి. ఓకే, దాన్ని ఒక వేరియబుల్లోకి లోడ్ చేస్తారు ఫస్ట్. సింపుల్. సో ఐఎమ్ క్రియేటింగ్ దిస్. Whenever you want to store the values, so let's say I am having a table. What my scenario is that I want to filter. So this is my data. I'll have the SQL query. So I'm using some values in my package. Okay, that value I want to change that values again and again. So they are like package 1, package 2. I'm having couple of packages which is using some values. Okay, so now if I want that values, if I want to change that value again, I need to go to the package and manually change them each and every time to all the packages. So what I am doing, instead of going and changing the package, just I'll store all the values in the table, and inside the package, before the execution of the package, I'll get that values from the table, and that values will be used in the package accordingly. Based on the necessity, that values will be using. In future, if they want to change some values or something, instead of changing in the packages, they'll directly change in the tables. That's it. Okay. So in order to load the values from a table into the package, so whenever you want to store some value in the package, you will be storing them in the variables. Okay, variables will store values, like same way in the T-SQL we got it, right? So in order to update the variables with the latest value, you need to get them from the table. How to get them from the table? By using execute SQL task. There's a task called execute SQL task. What you will be writing. So whichever the value you want to get, for getting that value, you need to write some query. So you'll be writing that query and here. So after that, that query returns some output, right? You need to capture that output. So you'll change the properties in the SQL task to capture that result. So once you capture, whatever the result you get, you will manually map that result to the variable. That's it. Okay? అర్థమైంది అందరికీ? అంటే కొద్దిగా బాగా ప్రాక్టీస్ చేయాలి ఇది డైనమిక్గా. అంటే సో we have seen one more thing called breakpoint. So what is a breakpoint means? If you want to stop the package during the execution, basically this breakpoint you will be using only for the testing purpose. See, this package will stop automatically. When I run this, my package will start after that breakpoint. So if you want to stop your any of the task, let's say I want to stop this data flow task before execution or after execution or in between the execution, or if there is failure I want to stop. So that all things in the breakpoints you can assign them. Okay. So automated that yeah, చెప్పండి. ఎగ్జాక్ట్ అంటే బేసిక్గా మనం కనెక్షన్ కాన్ఫిగరేషన్కి వెళ్తాము, అప్పుడు నేను ఇంకా డీటెయిల్గా చెప్తాను మీకు. ఓకే, ఇప్పుడు నార్మల్గా నేను హై లెవెల్ చెప్పాను, ఎందుకంటే మీకు ఇంకా చాలా ఉన్నాయి దీంట్లో చెప్పాల్సినవి. నేను జస్ట్ ఓన్లీ హై లెవెల్లో చెప్పాను, ఎందుకంటే నేను రేపు ఫర్ ఈచ్ లూప్ కంటైనర్స్ అని చెప్తాను, దాంట్లో కొద్దిగా డైనమిక్గా వాడతారు, దానికోసం అని చెప్తున్నాను నేను అంతే. ఓకే, సో ద సేమ్ వే. సో లైక్ యా, because I think Chandana they might be not be knowing what is development and what is QA and testing, right? So I'll explain later on, don't worry. Okay, so this is like whenever you want to change some value, so instead of going and changing the value in the packages, it will be hard to maintain, because once you are done with the package, you'll be sending the package and you'll deploy the package somewhere. I'm going to show you that all. So no one knows where your package is there. Okay, and in the company you might be creating some package some 100 like 10 or 20 years ago. Oh, sorry, not 20 years, might be a long time. So you had created some 1 year ago. After that you might created some hundreds of packages. You don't know what is the package name. So there dynamically, since you know, okay, this table will have that values, so dynamically you will go to that table and you will change it. That's it. Automatically it will reflect in the package. Let's say that value is used in 100 packages. So instead of going and manually changing in all the packages, it's like the shared location. Okay, you'll store the value in the table. So whenever the package runs, before execution of the package, so whenever the package is executing, so I'll just give the stop, continue. Okay, before the package executes, so you'll get that values and you'll update the variables with the latest values. That's it. Okay, and if I want to remove the breakpoint, right click on this, edit breakpoints, and I can uncheck it. So there are different, see, on post execute, on pre execute, on error. If there is an error, just stop the package. On warning, if there is a warning, just stop it. On task, if any of the task fail, just stop it. On progress, during the runtime, it will be stopped. Okay, like that. On query cancel, like there are many things here. I'll stop the package. Done. And I click on this, enable, edit breakpoints. I'll disable them. That's it, done. Okay. So this is the way you can get the dynamic values. And one more thing I can do it now. I'll show you one thing. So I don't know whether you remember it or not. I can show you one thing now. So I go to the data flow task. Okay. So I'm removing this connection manager. I'm just removing this connection manager. Okay. I'll delete it. I'm deleting it. So you'll not be updating that one either dynamically into that variable. Okay. So I'll just delete this variable also. I'll not have anything this connect. Okay. I'll not have anything. Click on this. Done. Because I am going to explain about the variables. Okay. So I'll click on this. I'll change the connection properties also. Expressions, because that variable is not there, right? So I'm going to change the connection manager. Cancel. Click on this. Oh, sorry, expressions. Click on this. Click on the connection manager. Select this. Yeah, delete. Okay, done. It will be deleted. Now you are not at all manually updating the connection or anything. Done. So now see, when I go to this OLEDB source, okay, I'll stop this video. I am going to continue with other stuff. Okay.